Alrighty, this one has been a long time coming, but here we are, the Arizona State Sun Devils. Now, I did not go back and fact check this, but I think ASU was mentioned in the comments in almost all of my way too early lineup breakdowns. So I believe I have some explaining to do. This video is just coming out now compared to being behind other teams, basically because Arizona State is literally bringing back every single impactful starter except for Anthony Valencia. To be fair, I think they are returning all major points at NCAAs too, except like half a point. But once I finally sat down and looked into their incoming freshmen, obviously they're a nice transfer, and so much more, I was just like, what are you doing? Come on! But once I sat down and figured all that out, I cracked my fingers, sat down, and started diving into everyone's favorite Pac-12 team, the Arizona State Sun Devils, who, as of now, is projected to finish second place at the NCAA Tournament. Obviously, like every team, they have to stay healthy and consistent, but let's dive into this lineup of 10 with a deep roster to get to the bottom of the Sun Devils to find if they are really going to take home another team trophy for the third year in a row. And the bigger question is, can they compete with the Nittany Lions in State College? Now, of course, before I give my thoughts on that question, I'm sure several of you in the comments are giving your thoughts about me for even having the audacity to say that, but regardless, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Also, if you end up enjoying this video, we would love for you to hit that like button, along with subscribing to good old True Tan Wrestling. Now, my name is Tanner, and I am just a guy who loves thinking and talking way too much about wrestling, so let's dive into the Arizona State wrestling team in this way too early lineup breakdown. Arizona State is led by the wrestling world star and alumni Zeke Jones, who took over the head coaching job in 2014, and to be honest, it felt like it took a while for him to start shifting the culture, but once his plan started working, it was off to the races, with Arizona State getting massive recruit after recruit. Of course, the Sun Devils also captured 2 team trophies in 2021 and 2022, both cases placing 4th. They have been outside the top 3 due to some hammer squads in their way. Luckily for them, some of those teams are downgrading a little bit, so it gives Arizona State a chance to finally crack into the top 3 and maybe even finish in the top 2. But there is a lot that needs to go right for them, and they have the firepower to do it, starting at 125. Their veteran starter at their opening weight is 2-time All-American Brandon Courtney. His biggest All-American finish and crack onto the scene was when he made the national finals in 2021, and then he finished in 6th place in 2022 after sliding from the semifinals to place 6th place. But don't let that fact confuse you, because he is still an elite force in the NCAA landscape. One benefit to his weight class is the discussion of Vito Arujau bumping up to 133 next year, and possible rumors of Glory also bumping up, but I believe this is more of a stretch, and I think Glory will stay down at 125. Siriano is also leaving, but unfortunately the Hammer Spencer Lee of Iowa will be returning, so that is tough for Courtney, but he has proven he can All-American twice, with or without Spencer Lee in the field. This will unfortunately be his last year of eligibility. However, the Sun Devils might have one more ace in the hole with Richie Figueroa, who committed to Arizona State super early in his high school career. Figueroa is a redshirt from last year, so unless he can beat out a 6-year senior, he will lose a year of eligibility here on the bench, but he could and should be an impact guy for his last 3 years of eligibility. He did place 3rd at U20 trials, so his development seems to be going pretty well. Now, I think 125 clearly has 2 amazing options, but I think 133 has even more guys to mention of interest. They have another 2-time All-American projected to start in Michael McGee, another 6-year senior. It's key to note that a team like Arizona State is thriving right now because of the free COVID year, similar to how Iowa was supposed to be thriving this past season with everyone back. Unlike Courtney at 125 that fell a few spots of his NCAA placement, McGee only got better and better throughout the season and from year to year, to be honest. He went from a slip-in All-American placing 6th to this year where he became a bang, placing 4th place, only losing to Fix in the semifinals and DeSano for 3rd place. Based on the 133 landscape, he should upgrade to 3rd place with DeSano and Myers both being gone, but unfortunately for him, RBY for Penn State and Dane Fix for Oklahoma State will be back in this landscape picture. Now, the other possible option slash backups we'll start with is Julian Klebo. He started a few matches at 141 when Vasquez got COVID slash got hurt, but he was a 133 all year essentially. He wrestled at the Madtown Open too in late January, but after that he didn't really wrestle anymore and finished last year 7-6. He's only a sophomore technically, so he should be the guy in 2024 when McGee's eligibility is up. However, ASU did get one of the best freestyle recruits coming in, projected to be a 133 as well, in Emilio Yesagir. Yesagir goes to the Arizona famous wrestling school Valiant Prep in Arizona. They made a huge bang at last year's Fargo, and ever since then, they've only been getting better and better, along with truly growing the sport in Arizona. Yesagir really grew his name when he beat the Fargo 1 seed and new junior world team member Nick Bouzakis at Fargo last year. I'm really curious to see how Yesagir does in college. I know he can really exceed in freestyle, and I know being at Sunkist will only help his goals, but I wish we had a little bit more data on him wrestling folk style. All we really have is him wrestling at Arizona State, and of course making the round of 12 at Super 32. He is in good hands though for development, plus he'll probably redshirt, so he's going to be going to opens and we'll see his development there, and I'm sure he'll be growing in the Arizona State room. 141, they had a ton of kids on the roster, but at the end of the year, the starter was Mikey Ramos, who actually got 2 wins at Pac-12s, but did not qualify for the national tournament. The main guy for the first half of the year was Jesse Vasquez, who I believe got hurt, but he should be back in action again in 2023, hopefully. His best wins were probably over Girardi of Virginia Tech and Butler of Oklahoma, but like I said, he had a small resume, so not a lot of data to really look at. And then once again, another great Valiant Prep wrestler coming in who will probably redshirt, but is an incoming freshman in top tier Caleb Larkin. Larkin was a top 50 guy on the 2022 class big board, and I think he can make a pretty interesting lineup battle in years to come. I could see them easily redshirting him and letting Vasquez have the spot this season, but say Larkin starts popping off at opens, maybe there is more at 141 than we think. Larkin did just place 4th at U20 trials, so for sure promising, and he beat Arrington, a top NC State recruit there. Once again though, most of his data is from freestyle wrestling events. I'm really interested to see a full season of him in folk style. He did place 7th though at Super 32, so clearly he can just adjust well, and I'm not saying Valiant Prep guys are only good at freestyle. They just wrestle that a lot more, but to be honest, in some states, you really can only get recruited at Fargo or popping off at these freestyle events, because there really isn't that many folk style events near them, so no hate towards Valiant Prep. I think all their wrestlers are really good. Back to the theme of 2-time returning All-Americans, we see 149 star Kyle Parco, who yes, was the breakout Fresno star the year their program got canceled once again. Clearly, he raised his stock enough to transfer into a Power 5 school, and once again All-American in 2022 at 8th place, which of course is a downgrade from his 6th place finish in 2021. Interesting enough, he did beat Milner of App State in the beginning of the year, but would drop a match to him the first All-America round, so he has potential to place high once again at 149, especially with Tariq Wilson being out of the field now, so hopefully that helps him upgrade and place higher for Arizona State. I think Parco will for sure be the guy. At the minimum, he has 3 years of eligibility left, which is super nice for Zeke Jones and staff. However, they also got another top 50 recruit projected to be a 149 in Michael Killick. He is not from Arizona like the others, but a top Georgia wrestler from Woodward Academy. I believe he'll redshirt this year, but he'll make the roster battle interesting at either 149 or 157 in 2024. The 2-time All-American theme stays alive, with Ja'Cory Teamer coming in at the 157 spot. Teamer placed 4th in 2021, blowing up the national tournament with all the potential we knew he had since high school. He followed up that season placing 6th this year. Teamer is an interesting wrestler to say the least. He is very good, but he can score so well off of other people's attacks in very creative ways, it can lead to sort of slower matches. Most of his matches are either crazy or very low scoring, with no one really wanting to pull the trigger and take an attack. At the end of the day, he's a multiple-time All-American and more than likely going to be the guy once again to help the Sun Devils once again reach that top 4 status. 165 is where the theme of All-Americans ends, but I think we have some interesting guys to look at. To be honest, I think the starter might be Kendall Norfleet, a redshirt freshman who finished his redshirt year 10-3. The other option at 165 is Maxwell Wilner, who only had a 7-4 redshirt year. However, he did beat Norfleet in sudden victory 3-1. This is a very common score for 2 guys of the same team that probably wrestle each other all the time and know what each other's going to do. However, this weight, I don't think we'll really know who the guy is until the opening day, and the only people who might know is Zeke Jones and staff, and they're the only people who probably have the knowledge until opening day. 174, we will see the highly anticipated start of Kale Valencia, who had a pretty good redshirt season, I'd say, finishing up 12-4. He beat Ishins of Stanford, Fitzpatrick of American, and Hastings of Wyoming during this run, but he also lost to Hastings and went 0-2 at the Last Chance Open, so a very typical top-tier redshirt season in my opinion. All year last year though, college wrestling fans wanted his redshirt to get pulled for Arizona State to really make the push, but at the end of the day, they knew the best for him and they still finished right where they were probably going to anyway. Ryan Rochford was the guy for most of last season and the Pac-12 tournament, but he went 0-3 at Pac-12s and is now transferring out of Arizona State. He was formerly at Adams State for 3 years, so maybe he's trying to go back to Division II level. There's also Zane Coleman, who wrestled some duels but finished the season 8-10, and at the end of the day, I think the new young Valencia will be the guy at 174. 184 was another weight Arizona State was kind of hurrying at last year, with Josh Nummer being the starter for most of the season, and at Pac-12s, unfortunately he did fail to make the big show though. However, Arizona State got some good news with the projected Oklahoma State starter and 2020 national qualifier Montalvo transferring into Arizona State to really make their lineup extremely strong. It is key to note that Arizona State lost some questionable duels last year, primarily because of the bonus points they were giving up at 174 and 184. Now they gained a top red shirt at 174 and a proven 184 from Oklahoma State to really fill the holes that they truly needed in their lineup. Arizona State was already super tough, bringing everyone back but Anthony Valencia, and these two gains are way more than interesting and helpful to their lineup. 197 will once again be the man Cordell Norfleet, who is a several-time national qualifier but has never made the podium despite being projected some years. This is his last chance to sneak into the top 8, and we all know he has the potential to do it. Since this is his last year at Arizona State, they have a lot of 197s in the wing, along with a few freshmen coming in. The most notable is probably Damian Shunk, who could be the guy in 2024, but we'll have to see how his development's going at some opens this season. Finally, we come to the Greco World Teamer himself and national finalist Colton Schultz, who is keeping traditional heavyweight wrestling alive. Schultz was an All-American before this year, but he really proved himself making the NCAA finals, and if Gable Steveson does not return, he will be looking to win it all in 2023. He still has 3 years of eligibility left, so he will continue to be a huge point scorer for them, and I could see Schultz's pin rate really growing the older he gets in the college scene. Well everyone, all I really have to say is sorry I didn't do this one sooner, because this was a really fun one to look at. From all the massive returns they have to the potential roster battles that will be super interesting, along with their huge recruiting class that could make some bangs in their future, there was just so much to discuss, and I'm really sorry it took me so long to get to this one. I'm a little glad though I did wait, just so we could see some of the incoming freshmen compete at the Junior Open and Junior Trials. Besides that though, I am really happy I could cover this one because it was a lot of fun. Overall, I think Arizona State is a heavy favorite to place 2nd or 3rd at next year's Nationals. It will be really hard for them to beat Penn State, I think, unless one of their champs falls off, which we all know is really rare for the Nittany Lions. Iowa is also a factor again, with having Real Woods coming in and then Spencer Lee being back. Regardless though, if they stay healthy and their projections hold up, for the most part, Arizona State is going to be a top dog in the tournament game, so really you gotta watch out for them because they are the team to take out now. I just thought of this image since I mentioned Real Woods. Imagine if Real Woods would have went to Arizona State. Oh my god, they would have been filthy, but back on track. With all that said, thank you all for watching, and if you are still here this long, here's a little treat. The next lineup I'm looking at is Lehigh, who has some fun transfer news lately, and some other interesting roster discussions to dive into. Then I'll do Oklahoma State, which is always a fan favorite, and then we'll finally be back at the Big Ten talking to Little Michigan. There will be videos throughout, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out, along with liking this video and commenting your thoughts on the Arizona State wrestling team. Now with all that said, I hope to see you all in the next one, and have a nice day. Take care, everybody.